and I'll turn the time over to Agnes. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday. I'm so excited to virtually meet all of you. If you don't know me, my name is Agnes, and I run a kids craft and activity website called Hello Wonderful. I've been doing it for almost the last 10 years, and I've been sharing a lot of fun DIY crafts and activities with my children. Today, I'm super excited to show you this really cute penguin rock family wood slice decor you can make with your children. It's a really fun holiday keepsake and something that you can display every year. What I love about it is that painting rocks is a super fun activity for kids. So this is a way to get them out and just, collecting rocks. And Michael's also makes it very easy because they already sell these black rocks that are already clean for you. And it's also a way to kind of show off your personality. So for our family, I added these colorful hats, and I love using these sticker letters for Michael's because if you're not a professional hand letterer like I am not, these make it super easy to just add a very polished look to your wood slice. I'll be also showing you how you can add names to personalize your wood slice later on, and also some tips on how you can embellish this even more. I think we can get started now on showing you the craft materials that we need. Maddie, if you want to turn it overhead. So what I like about this craft is, like I mentioned, what you see is what you get. You can easily see that this is a penguin rock family and all the supplies you need, but let me just walk you through some of the few materials that you will need for this. You definitely will need a wood slice. And what I love is that you can get different sizes wood slices at Michael's. I have all of them to show you. This is a small. Actually, I'm so sorry. I have only the small and the medium to show you. This is another example of the small. And this one that I have is, I believe this is the medium. So what you can do is you can get the wood slice that's appropriate for how many penguins that you want to make. And a wood slice is just a really beautiful decor that you can just display on your mantle or anywhere in your home. You'll also need white acrylic paint. I love using, this is sort of my secret weapon when it comes to rock painting, but I love using paint markers because they offer very fine tips and details. This is how I did the hats. And they come across as paint. So if you're not a seasoned painter, you can use paint markers to create a lot of details, like with the hats. I have these little iridescent snowflakes that I think are so pretty, and I think that they lend to a winter feel, since this definitely is a winter activity. I mentioned the rocks. So they are on this angle, on this side over here. So these are Black River rocks, and I typically look for ones that are smooth and flat, and those are the ones that I'll be choosing for this penguin wood slice. So this one, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little oblong and it would be hard to glue down. So I probably wouldn't be choosing that one. Whereas this rock is nice and flat, and I would be choosing something like this. You can also think about the height of your family members and try to mimic that. So if you have a family member that's taller, you can, put that family member first and just kind of go in descending order, like I've tried to do here for my family. What else? Oh, the sticker letters. So I mentioned how I love using sticker letters. And here, this is a better view with a white background. This is a gold one. Michael's also sells them in sells the ladders in different colors like black. Here is a blue one. And I kind of like the ones that have the slight glitter touch them, but they have so many sticker letters that you can really choose any letters that you think would match the look that you want, whether it be cursive or not, serif or not serif fonts. So I think I just got some paint on myself. I think we're ready to kind of get started making. This last thing that you'll need is a paintbrush to paint the white. And I will also share with you 2 different types of glues. So when you're painting rocks and you want to affix them to something and you want it to be pretty permanent, I like to use a really strong craft glue like this E6000 glue. It's clear and it's very, very strong, and your rocks will pretty much not move unless you really yank them off. But if you are not worried about your rocks moving around too much, a hot glue gun will do the trick very simply, and right away it'll stick your rocks to the wood slice. But the problem with that is if you're jostling your wood slice a lot, or your kids want to pick up the rocks, they will easily just come off because the hot glue will adhere to the wood, but it'll form this layer of hot glue that will easily be taken off. So I would recommend the hot glue if you want to just display it high on a shelf and no one will be touching the rocks. But if you want to really secure the rocks, then you would use something like a really strong craft glue. And if sometimes, you know, people want to send this off to someone, and if you want to send this in the mail, you want to package it very carefully and use the craft glue. I'm just getting some of the paint that I got on my hand. So I think that we can get started on making. Maddie, if you want, do you want to do the front facing or overhead for the start of the making?
Let's stick with the overhead.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna lay this here, which is sort of my sample. And I'm going to get started with a new wood slice. So as I mentioned, you want to pick some flat rocks. And I already did get some painted only because it takes a little bit of time for the paint to dry. And I wanted to show you how to add the features without waiting too much. But I do have a trick to get your paint to dry very quickly. So what I'll do is I'll paint the first rock with you and show you how to do that. And then I'll show you the trick on how to dry your paint very quickly. So for a little paint palette, I just use a piece of scrap cardboard. I'll just lay here, and you want to make sure to shake your paint to get any of the sediments out from below. Just add a little dab here. Any small paintbrush will do. So, you know, I'm not a master painter at all, and I don't expect any of you guys to be. So just don't be afraid of messing up because it's just paint, honestly. So what I like to do is just think about the outline. I look at the rock shape, and it sort of has a tip at the top. So I kind of just first try to just outline it and just create that outline before filling it in. And then once you have that, then you can actually start filling in the paint and just kind of clean up the edges. And then try to just smooth out the lines. So these rocks, I actually haven't washed or anything. They're just pretty much ready to use straight out of the canister, which is why I really like how convenient they are. And, you know, I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little streaky. So I like to do 2 coats of paint, but to get them to dry, and I don't, you know, if I don't want to wait a long time, my trick is actually to use a blow dryer. And you can use this even on any kind of painting projects like canvas, whether you're painting box or not. You would just turn it on and just go around your rocks to try to dry the paint very quickly. So once I let that go, I would move on to another rock before adding the second layer, just to give that a little bit of time to dry. So again, with another rock, I'm just doing the same thing as just giving it just like an outline first. And then just painting the middle portion of it. And then smoothing down the lines as evenly as possible. Okay, so again, I will take my blow dryer and blow dry the rock. And then I will go back to the other rock, and this is up to you. You don't have to add a second layer, but you know, as you can tell, it's a little bit streaky. So I really like it to have a white finish. So I like to do the second layer actually, because it just finishes it more and makes it look more penguin-like. So I'm just going over the lines that I've already created. I mean, honestly, this doesn't have to be perfect at all, because especially if kids are painting these rocks, I think it's really whimsical when they just, you know, just paint the rocks however they want. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. I'll just go ahead and do the second one to fill in the white a little bit more. Just try to get that. Okay. So do feel free to go over any streaks if you still see them, if you feel it needs even like a third layer, like I'm seeing here on this larger white one. It still looked a little streaky, so I'll add a little bit more. So again, just go over with the blow dryer if you don't want to wait at all. I use this trick all the time when I'm painting and I need to get something done very quick. So I'm looking to the chat to see if there are any questions, but I see that you guys are following along really great. So what we can do at this point is the ones that I have really dried, I can show you how I do the details. I'm keeping it very simple because I know children are going to be doing this project and I don't want to overwhelm them with a lot of details. So really you just need 2 colored paint pans for the face details, black for the eyes and orange for the nose. And if you haven't used paint markers before, the trick is you really have to shake them before. And you have to do this thing where, let me see if I can just get this notebook in view. You have to do this thing where you have to kind of stab the pencil. And I already kind of stabbed this, so if you see, it's already black at the tip, but if you get a fresh paint marker, it's actually, the tip is actually white. So you have to shake it a lot and you kind of have to stab it and then the paint comes out. So that's a trick to using paint markers. So going back to the penguin rocks, you would just simply add 2 small eyes, and I'm going to do that here. Like that.
Agnes, we have a question in the chat from Candy. She's wondering if you can use Sharpie markers instead of paint markers. Would that work?
It would work, but it actually would turn out a little bit gray in my experience. The paint markers give that really black matte look. And so if you're okay with not as deep of a black color, that's fine as well. But the paint markers really emulate acrylic paint, but it's completely fine to do that. So I just kind of go around, and if you feel that the paint is getting stuck on the white, you have to get it going a little bit again. And then you just have to just dab it and make a round set of eyes. Okay, so that you would continue and do that to all your rocks. So I'm going to just continue doing that. Just make sure, I'm just making sure that the paint is dry, because if the paint is not dry, it will lift off the paint and you'll see that it would smear. So that's why you just have to be very cognizant of how dry the paint is. Okay, so here's another penguin.
We have another question in the chat from Sherry. They're wondering, I was thinking of doing our family's thumbprints for the white part of the rocks. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because I've actually done that exact same thing before with my children. And actually you can do it even without the rocks. I've done it where we've just done the thumbprints and then we use black paint markers to paint around the white thumbprint. So you can do it with rocks or you can just do it without the rocks. So without the rocks would be thumbprint, white, and then paint the black outline of the penguin around it. Let me know if that makes sense or if you have any questions about that. It turns out super cute, and I wish I had the sample to show you, but it's just not ready around with me, but we've done that before and it's so adorable. So I'm just gonna continue adding the eyes. I always like try to make sure that the paint marker comes out. So you have to like stab it again. There you go. So these are the 2 rocks that I saved for last. These are the ones that I just painted. I think they might be ready. I can tell, I mean, nothing is lifting off my finger. So you can see that it doesn't take a long time for the paint to dry on the rocks at all. Okay, so just add the last, okay, so this is the last set of eyes. Then the next step would be to just use the orange paint marker to just add the little carrot nose. Let's see. So again, I'm shaking the paint marker. Make sure it has enough ink to flow. It does. I'd love to know if anybody wants to add in the chat if they have experienced rock painting or if their children like rock painting, because my daughter, who is now 12, she just adores painting rocks, and she started painting rainbow rocks when she was 7. Oh, there's a little bit of black here. That came out. Anyway, she started painting rainbow rocks when she was 12. I mean, when she was 7, and now she's 12, and she still paints rainbow rocks and leaves them out in the form of kindness rocks for people to enjoy and find. I'm looking at the chat. Oh, okay. Maybe I am going a little bit too fast. We have 2 kiddos still waiting for the white on the penguin. So I can slow down after I add the carrots and just wait a little bit more. Maybe I can just pause here. Maddie, do you think I should pause here and wait for people to catch up?
I think what you should do is finish the noses and then walk through what you've done so far from the beginning.
Okay, that sounds great. I will do that. I'm just making sure that my paint marker is coming out. And as I go slowly through that, hopefully people will catch up. Apologize if I'm going a little too fast. So one thing I noticed is maybe you will see it too is if the paint is really fresh, it will take off some of the white. So if you see that, just go over it with the orange and it should just cover that up very easily. So again, this is supposed to be a really, really simple project, but you know, what you can do is you can always embellish the penguin's face. You can add cheeks to it. Like it would be really cute if it had some rosy cheeks. You can add a mouth, but I just kept it very simple in this example. But really, you can also make different kinds of eyes. I mean, a little like sleepy eyes or unicorn type eyes on the penguins, anything. I mean, just really imagine what a penguin might look like, but also how you can make the penguin look super whimsical and fun. That would be really great for your kids to explore, making different faces even, so the faces don't all have to look the same. So what I've done right now, I'm just gonna recap so people can catch up, is I've taken the rock and given it at least 2 coats of white acrylic paint. And I've added 2 black eyes with black paint marker and a little carrot nose with your orange paint marker. So someone is writing, if you don't have, oh, Maddie's, you will. If you don't have a hair dryer, try blowing or fanning the paint to make it dry and make sure you've got a thin layer of paint. If it's too thick, it won't dry for a long time. Yes, that's a great idea. That's a great suggestion. You don't want to add on a thick glob of paint, especially if you do that. When you use a paint marker on top of paint, it does lend to a gloppiness to it. So the key is to go fine and to do a layer. Do you have any other wording ideas that would work for all winter as opposed to just the holidays? No, that's a really great suggestion. It doesn't have to say happy holidays. I mean, I think you can make it specific to the culture or holiday that you celebrate, but if you wanted something generic, you know, it's hard for me to come up with something on the spot, but what I like to do is sometimes I'll go to Etsy and I'll type in things like winter frames or winter art, or I'll even Google that and I'll get a lot of fun suggestions, you know, or even sometimes I'll think about movies that I like and think about iconic phrases in holiday movies. And, you know, or sometimes you just have a phrase that you and your family really likes to use. And maybe that will be your personal way. It doesn't have to be a holiday or winter activity. It would be great to even put a family phrase that is special and meaningful to your family. Maddie, yes, exactly. Use your family name. That's amazing. Thank you, Sherry. I love that. I really love that. My family name is very short. It's just 3 letters, HSU. So I don't know. I feel like it's not as exciting as some other really, really nice long family names. Maddie, do you want, should I continue at this point, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good to continue, and I'll just put a reminder out there that it is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the Michael's Stores YouTube channel tomorrow. If at any point you want to just kick back and watch and then continue making the project later once your paint dries.
Okay, great. Going back to the family names, I don't have this yet written here because I was going to do that in the class, but when we did our thumbprint penguins, we actually added our names, our personal names underneath each penguin. So that's another way to personalize as well. So the next step is to arrange your penguins as you see fit. You know, you can put them in descending orders or whatnot. It doesn't really matter, but you can think about how a penguin would represent each family member. So I have a 4-year-old, he's my youngest. He would probably be this little guy and not this big one. So this would probably be my husband. And, you know, my daughter and I are almost the same height. So I kind of chose something very similar height to that. I also have a pretty tall son. So here we are, and then here is my little guy right here. So once you have determined where your penguins are going to go on the wood slice, you would decide what glue you would use. And I'll just recap again. If you don't want your rocks to come off very easily, you would use something strong like a craft glue like E6000. And if you're not familiar with this glue, it just adheres to a lot of different materials like wood and rocks, and it's pretty strong. It's way stronger than, for example, like Elmer's craft glue or the white glue that you typically see. But in this case, I'm going to show you how to just, you know, what I typically use as a glue gun, because we typically just display our wood slices, and my kids don't, it's not really meant to be a toy. And I'm not going to be transporting this anywhere, shipping this as a gift. So very simple. My hot glue is already heated. You want to make sure that your hot glue gun is heated and that it's, you know, working and plugged in. And just add a layer. I try to just make a little shape and use enough to make sure that it's going to adhere well. Then you simply would just press it down. And that's it pretty much. If you have used a hot glue gun before in the past, you'll notice that there are a lot of spider webs sometimes. And so you want to make sure that after your piece is glued down, you can take off any spider web around. I don't see a lot in this case, but sometimes I've used glue guns a lot in the past, and you definitely get a lot of spider webs depending on the project you're making. So we just continue on and add more glue to the rest of your penguins. I mean, I like using the hot glue gun because it's almost like instant gratification. with something like this strong craft glue, it'll still slip and slide. So you will, if you use something like this, you really have to make sure that you can't move your penguin around. You have to let it set. But if you see here, I've glued the first one just less than a minute ago, and it's like, it's really strong. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue the next two penguins. You know, I put my penguins pretty much next to each other, but another tip that you can do for a variety is you can space them apart, and then you can add wings. So you can actually take your black paint marker and you would add wing details right here. But I kind of like them all close together like this. But when I've created the thumbprint penguins without the rocks, I did color in wings. So that's something that you can do. So this is just my last penguin. And so now you have a really fun decorative base that you can really decorate in many different ways. And so we did colorful hats because we love a lot of colors in this family. But you don't have to do the hats. You can do something else. Another thing I wanted to show you is instead of paint markers, which kind of gives it a more one-dimensional feel, you can feel free to cut out strips of is this flannel or I
believe it's felt.
Yes, felt. Yes, I'm like kind of yes, felt, and or flannel or any kind of fabric, colorful fabric, and you can cut them in hat shapes, and you can use that, and it would create an instant dimensional piece, and super fun to feel. You could also I got all these craft materials at Michael's. Obviously, they have everything under the sun. You can take little pom-poms and you can glue them to, obviously it's not going to stick, but you can glue them to the tips. And you can do that whether you use paint markers or felt. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But for this example, I'm just going to continue with the hats, because I really like that simple and colorful feel. So I am starting with the red hat, and again, just shaking to make sure that the paint marker is going to come through. So here's a tip for you. If you're not secure in your illustration or drawing, you can do a faint pencil outline. And I'm not saying that I am very confident in my ability, but I feel confident enough to just draw a hat shape. And if it's not perfect, I'm okay with that. I mean, this is for my family. And I also know that if this is something I'll be doing with my kids, the hats are not going to be perfect. So I'm completely fine with just freehand drawing the hat. And I know that my kids would love to do their own hats as well without making it perfect. So I'm just going to do that now, just to show you how easy it is to just go ahead and do that. So you would just kind of go in. I want to make sure that I'm not in the frame. It's, you know what, I might just do this because it's kind of hard to bend down. And I'm placing my hats different directions. So that's just the one outline right here, and just draw the circle for the pom-pom, which I'll just go ahead and color in. You see, what I love about the paint markers is they instantly just paint on, and you can add a lot of fine details. Whereas if you had to do the whole paintbrush thing, you would have to have the right paintbrush, and you might not get as the fine line that you're getting here. So anyways, it's a little bit of a weird angle, so my painting might look a little bit strange, but it really is just like coloring in something. Okay. So I could see here that I didn't get the bottom here. So you want to make sure that your hat is fully covered on the inside, close to the head. So in this angle, you can see that the hat looks fully on. If you want to be a perfectionist, you can go all the way around here so you don't even see it from any kind of angle. You don't see any wood from any angle. So there you go, that's your first hat. And you would just continue and draw on all the other hats with your paint markers. If people have a chance to write in the chat, I would love to know where you are joining in from. I'm actually joining you from Southern California, and I'd love to know where you guys are from. So again, I'm just freehand drawing a hat shape. Hi, Donna from Boston. Oh, and hi, Sherry from Michigan. Thank you. Emma from Georgia, and Terry. I guess we have someone from Florida. Hi, Terry. Thank you so much for joining me today on Sunday. So I am doing the same thing with the second hat, just coloring it in. And okay, the pink hat is done. Let's see, so I'm gonna do green next. Maddie, how is the pace going, you think, Maddie?
I think we're doing well. We have about 20 minutes left of class.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Hi, Sheila from Virginia and Candy from Texas. Oh, I recognize my friend Elaine with her kids, Zoe and Maya. Hi, you guys. Sorry, I can't see everyone on the screen, but I'm super, super appreciative to have so many people come join. And another person, Nolanchi from California as well, and Paula from Tampa. So we have the green. I think this might be a darker green than I originally did here, but I think that's fine. I just grabbed the green marker that I had available. So again, just drawing that shape and then outlining it in. Let's see if you guys can see this. So if you could see, I could tell that the green is drying out a bit. So I'm stabbing the tip to give it more color, so the color could run freely. So you want to keep doing that a lot with your paint markers to make sure you get that nice deep color. Okay, let's see. Oh, get the edge right here. Okay, that's a green, and we just have the blue and the purple left. So really, after you do this, after you add on the hats, you really just have to add on any kind of customization, like the letters, or write people's names on the bottom. Add anything like snowflakes, and you're pretty much done. So I'm excited that I'm able to show you all the steps in this class session. Here's a suggestion for you is I know that Michaels also sells these wood slices in ornament sizes. And what would be really cute is just to do a single penguin, or either as a rock or as a thumbprint, and then put a person's name underneath that. And that could be hung as an ornament on the tree. Because the wood slice ornaments that Michael has also come with a hole and twine. So they make it super easy for you to just decorate the wood slice ornament and hang up on your tree. Okay, that's the blue, and I'm just gonna finish with the purple before we get to the lettering. So this set of paint markers comes in one easy set, and they basically come in all these rainbow colors as well as black, and it's made by Craft Smart. You can get them where all the markers are. So if you look for where just the regular, markers, Crayola, whatnot, you'll see these paint markers there as well. And I always have them on hand because they just come in really handy for when I want a very deep color to any kind of project. And I don't want to have to deal with messy paintbrushes. And as I mentioned earlier, they are really wonderful specifically for painting on rocks, especially if you want to add words on rocks, like making kindness rocks. They're amazing for kindness rocks. Okay, so we have our whimsical penguins right here. And one of the final steps is to choose your lettering that goes on top. So I use black on this sample one, but I'm gonna do something different, and I really like the gold as well. So I'll be showing you the gold on this one that we just made in class together. So these, as I mentioned earlier, you can use any sticker letters, and you really don't have to use this cursive font at all. And Michael sells very modern block fonts. But what I really like about the sticker letters is that I'm not a really good hand letterer, but if you are, it would be really beautiful for you to hand letter and use calligraphy pens to write your special message. And if you want, you can even have your child use their own handwriting, and that would be a very, very adorable keepsake for you to remember that time when they were so little. What I like to use is these sticker letters because they're just so easy. And as you can tell here, I didn't even bother with keeping the exact same font. My H is lowercase, my P's are uppercase, and I just really like that whimsical feel. So I'm kind of just gonna go with choosing whatever letters that kind of speak to me right now. They are a little delicate, so you want to make sure that you don't rip them off too fast. And if you want, you can put a little dot of pencil and mark out each letter, but as I mentioned, I really like the whimsical feel, so I'm not going to bother with that. I just want to show you how easy they are. You really just press down. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's just really as simple as that. I know the gold is really hard to see on the wood slice, but it's just so easy and simple. But I don't need to use hot glue, and I feel it's pretty secure. So I'm okay with not using additional adhesive. So here's an A, and I kind of like them when they're a little bit off center. Maddie, how much time do we have? I just it might take me a while to put all these letters, but I don't want to spend too much time on that if we only have.
We have about 15 minutes, but I think we're at an okay pace.
Okay, great. I'll just go ahead and just add the rest of the letters in. And then hopefully, I think I'll have time to talk about the different things that you can do. I mean, I already mentioned how you can decorate the hats with fabric and add dimension or add pom-poms. I might, if we have time, I might even add some pom-poms right here just to show you how that looks. Let's see. Okay, so let's see, I'm H. I'm gonna go lowercase because I'm feeling that. I think also has to do with like the spacing. I actually noticed that I gave myself a little bit too much space on the bottom, so I'm gonna go with more the lowercase letters. If you like to plan your art out, that's totally fine as well. And then, you know, if you know that you're gonna put something here, maybe a piece of evergreen, then, or pine cones would be really cute as well. Then that would be totally fine.
Agnes, we have a question from Emma in the chat.
Oh.
They asked, what did you use to finish the wood slice? Did you put a layer of anything on top of the wood, or did you use it straight out of the package?
I actually use the wood slice straight out of the package. But you know, I'm glad that you asked a question about finishing, because if you really wanted to preserve your painted rocks, you could add a layer of clear gloss varnish to the rocks, and that would preserve the paint on the white paint and the details on the penguin from chipping off. So that's what you would look for, is something like a clear gloss varnish. I have used something called Duragloss before, which I purchased at Michael's, and it literally is just a clear gloss coating that you apply with a paintbrush. But the wood slice, going back to your original question, I did not put anything on the wood slice. Just bear with me a little bit if this is a little bit of a boring part of the making, just adding letters. But we are almost done. Just a couple more letters. Oh, and then I also like to add the year, and that's up to you. Because this is a holiday craft, I thought, you know, the year is really nice. But you don't have to add the year at all.
You know, Agnes, I had the thought that really you could have multiple ones of these rock family penguin projects around the house for different times of the years, different holidays, or even just different seasons. I think that would be a really great idea.
Exactly. And, you know, you can turn rocks into practically anything. They don't even have to be penguins, but you can turn them into woodland creatures, for example, would be really cute. If one was a fox or a hedgehog and an owl, that would be so cute. I mean, kids love those characters. And yeah, any kind of animals. Or you can even do rock people. Rock people are super fun. I've seen rocks turn into faces, and that would be so fun to display people's personalities through the rock faces. You could even do like a beach theme. Okay, so I'm doing this so you can kind of see the reflection, but without the reflection, but now it says Happy Holidays there. And I am gonna add the 2021 just to go along with finishing the look of this. And these sticker letters I like because they do have numbers. attached to them. So they have letters and numbers, making it super easy for you to get one set of letters at once. I mean, I can hardly believe that 2021 is over. And I'm sure that many of you are feeling that way. Very super appreciative that you're taking the time out of this busy season to join me today as well, because I know we're right at the start of December, which is the beginning of a very busy time for everyone. So thank you so much for joining me. Okay. So here we go. 2021. Here is the 2021, and so I have some iridescent snowflakes that I really like the look of because they're very simple, and they just add a very like a decorative winter feel. And I don't add too many. I first like to just place them on the wood slice, and then I just glue them on with a dab of hot glue. So with the iridescence, I just want to make sure that you see that. It's a little hard to tell, but there you go. So I don't like to use, you don't need a lot of hot glue for this, or you can use a craft glue if you want. This sticks on pretty easily. I just add a little dab in the center. This is actually, you will get some spider webs here. So I know it's hard to tell, but I see them, and I just simply just see the spider web. All you have to do is kind of just pull them away and they come off easily, and they're not hot at all. I do recommend that the adult is the one hot gluing, unless you have a very seasoned child who is a crafter. I mean, I think my daughter was 8 when she started using a glue gun, hot glue gun confidently. But if you have a very young child, definitely you should be the one using the hot glue. So I'm not even applying a lot of pressure. It's literally just a dab of hot glue. And just, so we have our penguin rock family turned out so cute. And so with we have about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 minutes left, Maddie, is that right?
That's right.
So with that time, I wanna just show you how I would add the names. I really like using this Micron pen because it's a really, really thin tip. And it's easy to write with. So I am going to write my family's name on here. I'm going to write mom, dad, and my children's names. Again, I'm not the best letterer, so I just am going to do block capital letters. Oh, you can barely see it. I'm sorry. I could see it on the bottom, but okay. So this is where I would actually recommend, if you want to lightly pencil in the names, you should do that and then go over the black. I'll go a little bit lower on this one so you can see that mom. My daughter's name is Aaliyah. Luckily, all of my children have very short names, except for the last one's name is Dashel, but we call him Dash, so I think that's what I'm going to use. So if you can also use sticker letters for this, but I like the personalization of handwriting the names. My middle son's name is Kian, K-I-A-N. and last one is dash. Okay. So at this point, you could just stop here, and if not, you can, if I have time, I can add little pom-poms so I can just show you how that would look like. I think I'm gonna do that in this case because I already have this sample without the pom-poms. So again, just a little bit of hot glue and just add a little whimsical feel to the hats. I'm going a little bit fast now because I know that we're running a little bit, we're almost running into our scheduled time. Okay. I don't have a purple pom-pom. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to use yellow, and that's totally fine. And then what you can do is, I have these little decorations. Like, I think I'm just going to pile things on so you can see. I have these little pine cones. Oops, that one fell off. But I have this little pine cone right here that you can add if you wanted to just add a decorative feel, even just more details. I don't know if I would do this one because it's a little bit large. My other pine cone fell down, but I would probably add maybe another pine cone here and here. And as I mentioned, there's ribbon options. I mean, you can add a little bit of ribbon somewhere if you wanted. And you can also add a little bit of evergreen. So if you didn't want to add the year, you can add a little bit of artificial evergreen to your wood slice. And you could just really just play around with it and add different dimensions and personalizations. I would love to answer any questions as we are ending our tutorial. And thank you so much for everyone. I'm just seeing the comments about that you think it's cute. And thank you so much for your kind comments. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, Agnes, where can people find you online?
Oh, that's right. Do you want to show the front facing?
Sure.
Sure. Hi. You can find me online. My blog is hellowonderful.co, www.hellowonderful.co. You can find me on Instagram under hellowonderful_co. I would love if you made this cute project, and if you tag me on Instagram and also tag Michael's, and also use the hashtag Make It With Michael's and Michael's classes. I would love to see your version, and I would love to share them in my stories as well. Also, I know that this class is going to be uploaded to the Michael's YouTube. So if you miss some details or you want to go back and watch it, just go ahead and go to Michael's YouTube and catch the class there. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you had a blast, Zoe, Maya, and Eileen. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Shannon, and I see VL. Thank you so much for all your kind comments. Aurora, thank you. Maddie?
Yes, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Agnes, and thank you everyone for coming in.
Okay, great. Happy holidays, everyone. Bye.